All right, all you devils, how you doing out there? Happy Bitcoin Friday. Here we are, April 10th here, so we're gonna take a look at Bitcoin here in some detail. Now, before I do here, just a quick reminder here. I'll try and get through this as quickly as I can for those of you that have seen it. Just a reminder, we've got this contest going, this membership giveaway, $1,500 of value. Very easy to enter, right? Email or your Twitter handle, and then it's a process of trying to get points. By performing certain tasks, the more points, the higher your odds of winning. We're now at 18 days left here. So the tasks are very simple, and the app will guide you through it. So follow us on Twitter, retweet this, subscribe to our YouTube channel. The one that gets you the most points, I'll use this as an opportunity to remind you, is to join our free Discord. So let me bring this down here. So if you come over to our site, tradedevils.com, and you just go up here to plans and prices. Now, many people like to just put a toe in the water, start with free. That gets you access to the Discord. And now several people are saying, hey, where's the link to the Discord? Well, you got to get there through this. Right? It'll kind of walk you through the process. It'll drop you into the Discord where we will greet you there. You will have access to the deep dives, all the deep dives in crypto, and we're going to do some more. We're going to look at Bitcoin in great detail, Link, and a few others today. So you'll have access to all of those. So again, just by entering here, that gets you bonus points, increase your odds of winning here. And then the other thing is, I've mentioned a couple of times, just to remind you that this is the white belt now is available to all members, free or otherwise. So if you look in here, and again, you're stuck at home all weekend. Here's the white belt course. It's 4 hours of video education and training here. This is not lightweight material. This will challenge you. As I've said previously, I have some experienced Elliotticians that just taking all this for granted, they just blow right through it and they're failing. They can't, because they're not putting the time and effort into it. So let me just remind you, this is not purely an Elliott Wave course. Some of this content is unrelated to Elliott Wave. Now, we do go through an introduction to Elliott Wave here, and then wave relationships I think will be invaluable, but also risk reward and some of the basics, and then that exam is not easy. So it's 4 hours of content here, completely free. So keep in mind, so that's available to you. So again, just easy to enter, right? A few little tasks, bump your odds of winning. That 3-month educational membership's not a bad giveaway, but second gets you 2, third gets you 1, and then down here we're going into social membership. So there you go. With all of that said, I think that covers everything I wanted to talk about there. All right, so marketing's done. We're like 2 minutes 40 seconds. All right, so here. Let's take a look at Bitcoin now. So we're starting to retrace now, which is hard not to be anticipating that, given the way we had this convergence of these two trend lines here. Clearly, there was likely to be movement outside of this, and if you're looking at this with your Elliott hat on, and now of course, Elliotticians certainly can differ. The basic structure here, I see a 5, right? That's enough for me, so I'm expecting that to come down here. Now there's certainly there are different ways to count this, right? Now, of course, a bear is just going to see, well, shit, a bear's always looking for down. So they're going to see perhaps an ABC, or they're going to the other thought. A bear might look at this and say, okay, there's the A, the B, the C, and then we go down, right? They always want it lower. My view is they want it lower simply because they want to try and buy it lower, right? But I guess there are those, right? I'm always surprised why uber bears continue to come over here and watch my content, and they comment on it. They don't like it because it's not bearish, right? I'm not a bear, so why would I be advising you to sell? So that said, now I've got 2 counts here. This is actually my more conservative count. So purists are going to differ with me here, because if this is a 5-3-5-3-5 leading diagonal, right? There is a purist is going to be anticipating that as 3 is longer than 1, 5 must be longer than 3. Now, I'm going to tell you, I do not hold that as a rule. What that is actually, right? Again, feel free to differ with me. That's Prechter Elliott. At no place in Elliott's writing can I find any reference to where Elliott says that in a 5-3-5-3-5 leading diagonal, 5 must be longer than 3. Right? Must be the longest. So, number one, I'm not a purist, so I'm sticking with the 5 here to influence me. So I see off of this low a motive wave. Right? Again, feel free to differ with me. Right? That's what makes a market. So if that's the case, then this and the reason I say this is the more conservative, we'd be anticipating 3 to come down here into our buy zone before we head up for. So this just being corrected, swing low to swing high, coming down here, we'd come right into our ideal buy zone here. You can see the high volume node sitting right here. Well, we've got a low volume node here at the 50, kind of interesting, and then the high volume, the support here that we could, you can pretty much anticipate it. We know how much Bitcoin likes the golden zone, so based on how far we're going here, and are we going down that low? I mean, that's putting it at if you call it 5,400. Well, we're going to know pretty quickly, because if this is going to go that deep, if we're just starting, so the implication would be here we're still in the A wave, something along those lines to get it down here in a 3. Pretty bearish, right? Considering we were just at 7,500, if we're going to go down to 5,400, even 52, even 55, so we're going to go down $2,000. Of course, it's possible. It wouldn't invalidate the bullishness here. In fact, if anything, what we'd be setting up here is just a golden corner, right? We'd set that up. That would be pushing you. That's long term. But there's other ways to count this here. So this is certainly one interpretation. Now, if you're a purist and you disagree, I have no problem with you disagreeing. Just don't be an asshole about it. So if you've got a count that you think is more rules compliant based on Precht or Elliott, post it up, man. I'll take a look at it. Sure, right? I mean, I don't have an issue with somebody who has a different opinion. So if that's what you think, post it. So here, let me show you what I think is actually the count. That this is my more bullish count. So similar in that I'm not enforcing that the 5th here be longer than the 3rd. So you can count this. You can get the same. Excuse me. You can get the same kind of 53535 getting into the 1 up here. So we'd have from this low 1, now a more shallow 2. We don't make the 50 here, but I can get the ABC in there. But then that would imply that we've yet gone 1 and we're going into the 2 here before we go up. So that's implying 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, the advantage of this count is that if we start to break down, well, of course, right, we invalidate here. So if we're going to end up correcting the whole thing, let's see if I can do it this way. If we're going to correct the whole thing, and we're going down to this or here, just the high volume node. If we're going that low, well, okay, this count gets invalidated. Well, certainly it gets technically completely invalidated at the break of that high, or pardon me, at the break of that pivot low. Right, so we're going to get an answer here pretty quickly. So that's the best news here. Ideally, you'd like to see it do this. Right, that would be just textbook. Again, we know Bitcoin loves the golden zone. Now you've got a bit of a divot here. You don't have the same. Well, this is just screaming at you. You don't have this down here just saying, please, please, please come down here, so I can buy it there. But you do have this kind of, well, you've got a little high volume node here, and you've got some structure to pay attention to. Again, the reason I like this count here is I'm going to get an answer pretty quickly. What am I looking at here? Have I got it? That's a 30-minute chart. So we're going to know pretty quickly as to whether or not this pivot holds. Now, again, we could go down to the 786. We can go 887. We can go lower down here. But you can see here, let me clean this up a little bit. So, well, first, I wanted to just emphasize how nicely this initial pitchfork, right? It's modified shift, caught the median line on the turn. But so let me take that off, and then let's just hide it here. So let's get that hidden. And now I've got a couple of channels on here that, if I've got these right, no, I don't want you. I want channel. I want channel. There we go. Okay, let's get that off. Okay, so all I've done is just take the channel here, and then I've cloned it so I can see if I'm coming down here and I'm going to hit the edge of this channel. So you can think of these as just running parallels. If we're going to come down here, you allow for a little throw over, not a whole lot. So if this is trading view, if this is going to do something along these lines here, well, here's a 50. So if we're going to finish this little impulse, which would be the C, and we're going to start to go, well, then, so here's a count that would support that thinking. So we've got 2 channels here. So I've got well, here, let me thicken this up so you can see it a little better. So let's do that. Okay, there you go. So from this, the idea being here that this channel here, I'm connecting these lows here and these highs. Yeah, we got a little throw over here. So another potential area of support, if we're going to come down that far and we're going to break this. Now, of course, you could clone this yet again and go down, get another sliding parallel. But the deeper this goes, the more this count starts looking like it's going to get invalidated. And then we've got to go back to the larger count here. It's putting us down here in this range for the potential 2. Right, so that's kind of what I'm looking at here. I do like the potential here. It's not something to be overly aggressive on because it's unclear as to what exactly is happening. Unclear. As often Bitcoin is challenging on the Elliott side. But again, we're going to get an answer here pretty quickly. So something to watch for. Would I buy it? Absolutely. I think that there's a very reasonable risk-reward profile here. So if we just split the difference, you could be relatively tight on that because it's either going to hold or it's not. So just the first target there is giving you it, right? So if you can maybe give it a little more room, give it a little cushion. You could use the 707. Oh, let's see with the 707 if we get, where's my 707? There we go. Okay, so let's put the 707. So if I take it down to under the 707, giving it plenty of room here. So just the first algo target, it's still 7 to 1. We get a third out of this. Now you're at over 10 to 1. So how do you evaluate the trade? Let's say we're at the 50. Now we're increasing the risk. So now I've only got 5. Well, let's go back to just the first algo target. Now there's almost, well, it's over 3 to 1 there, right? If you're going to get the rip into a third, now I'm back to pushing 5.6 to 1. It's very tradable. Any help down here? RSIs were under 30. Nothing from the OBV yet, right? You'd want to see that buying come in, but to see this start to move higher coming off of this old oversold condition. Again, this is only a 30 minutes, so this is one to be watching, right? It's not for everyone. Again, I wouldn't go super heavy here, and I wouldn't over lever it. But is there a trade there? Sure, absolutely. More conservative? Well, so if it ends up being this and you're stopped out, well, then we know where we are. Then I would just reload down here. I would, right? I'm a bull, so I'm looking for opportunities to be a buyer. Right, feel free to disagree. If you think this is all corrective, and I can understand that thinking. Well, if you think that it's corrective, and from the swing we've bumped into the 50, right? Not to the tick, but we're kind of, well, we certainly are in that zone, right? So we're between the 50 and the 618 here, right? So potentially, right, that's going to imply we're moving down to 2400. So I do see a lot of, across crypto Twitter, the Uber bears saying we're going to break this low and we're going down here, and that's shit. And of course, that's possible, right? I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It's not possible. I'm just saying that's not my view of it. I'm looking to be a buyer. I think all we're doing, we're just making remember, however you count it, this is whether it's here or here, it's just an internal retracement before we go external. That's my view, and I'm sticking with it until this pivot is violated. If that's the case, then we got to reevaluate, or at least I would reevaluate. But until that happens, I stay a bull. All right, did I cover everything? Yeah, I think I did. Wow, it's only 13 minutes. All right, well, so we're going to look at Link and one other one based on feedback from members. So if you're interested in any of those, of course, that's a crypto deep dive. Any free member gets access to anything we do in crypto. So if you're curious, you can do that. Plus, right, just by joining, you get bonus points here, right? Increase your odds. And if you're stuck with nothing to do this weekend, or you want to work on a little education, a little training, come on over, right? So that'll keep you busy. Don't take it for granted. That's what many are doing, just blowing through. I got it, I know it, right? And they're failing left and right, right? It's not designed to be easy. It's designed to make sure that you've internalized the content, right? Otherwise, what's the point of this? All right, hope we'll see you in the Discord, guys. All right, with that, have a good weekend, and we'll catch you next week.